All right. Thank you all for being here for the Perfect Your Elevator pitch. My name is Camila Brango. I'm the Director of Community at the Center for Communication. Nice to see you all again. Maybe if you guys want to get closer, don't be timid, don't be shy, come up. Alex is going to be a great person to move up, down. You're here with the Alexandra Merceron, who is a communication executive and thought leader with 20 years of experience transforming how organizations connect with audiences. Currently, she is the Executive Vice President of Insights at Rubenstein, where she leads research, analytics, digital strategy, and AI initiatives for the firm's diverse roster of clients. Alex is also an award-winning educator with more than 15 years experience teaching graduate courses. And Alex is a very dear friend of the Center for Communication. You might have seen her sometimes moderating some of our panels. So I'm really excited and honored to have her here with us today. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause, please. Sorry, Alex, I didn't see you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. A little louder. Good morning. Okay, before I jump in, the first rule of thumb, you've been doing some talking this morning. Get all the nervous energy out. Speak louder than normal, right, before you have to have your real conversation. I say that because you're going to be talking today. So everyone should hopefully be sitting next to someone they can introduce themselves and practice their pitch with, either in front of you, behind you, next to you. I want this to be an interactive session. As Camilla explained, I've been working in communication for a long time. What I typically do, the way I describe what I do is I teach people to do what I do every day on the job, but a big part of that involves explaining what I do. And the question that I am constantly answering is, who am I, right? When you wear multiple hats or you have different interests, you are constantly trying to frame who you are in an advantageous way for different people, right? You might be at a networking event. I could be at a professional networking event. I could be at an academic networking event. So who we are is who we are, but it's also a relative construct, right? There's who you want to be in that moment for that person that you're speaking to in the context, in the situation, and the opportunity that's in front of you. So, to be really annoying, first thing I'm going to make you do is to introduce yourselves. You've got about 30 seconds before you're going to start talking, because that's the first part of this. We're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different scenarios in which we're pitching and some of the differences between how we might want to think about presenting our pitch. For some of you, maybe you work in an agency and you're doing a pitch in more of a sales context. Maybe it's just professional networking like this. Maybe you're a creative with an idea that you're trying to get funding for or support for. Right? There are lots of different ways to think about how we pitch ourselves. And you can all do it, but there are steps to it. Really, the first step and the most important step and the step that puts you in a position of power is breaking the ice, right? Being able to confidently approach someone and set the tone for that conversation before you even start the pitch. So we'll talk through some strategies, 6 strategies for doing that well, and then I will give you some pitch frameworks. I can tell you're all incredibly talented, smart people with an interesting story to tell, but we can't always tell that whole story. So I'm going to give you some frameworks that you can use, whether it's on the back of a napkin at a dinner party, at an event like this, before you go into a panel. Maybe you're listening to a panel and before it ends, you want to reconstruct the perfect story that's going to make you be the person they remember, because the panelists are going to be inundated by 30, 35 people after every event. Right? So how do you become the person whose pitch they actually remember something about? Maybe not all of it, but they'll see your face and say, oh yeah, that's the person who loves influencer marketing. Or that's the person who's a musician, right? So how do you construct a story so that you're focusing on what's most important? And there are 2 ways to do that, a short way and a long way. And then, as I said, we're going to have exercises throughout, and then we'll leave some times for questions. So when are we doing this? Most often. Raise your hand. Someone tell me, you had a panel earlier. Did anyone approach a panelist and introduce themselves? Raise your hand if you did. Okay. Kind of, sort of. Who gets thrown by the question, so what do you do? right? There's so many ways we could answer that question. You might not have a job and you're a student, but you have some experience and you're not quite sure how to phrase it. Any of these can potentially trip us up, right? So I want you to think about your introduction, right? You're one person with one story, but in each of these contexts, in a job interview, what's probably the most important part of your introduction? Yes. Your work experience. What else? What you're doing right now, potentially. What else? Your name. I have introduced myself and forgotten to tell people what my name is. What else? Oh, go ahead in the back and then the front. Your education background, potentially. Your interests. Okay, yes. Skills, concrete things you can do regardless of what you're actually doing. Yes. What you want to do next. Now I'm going to throw a wrinkle, right? We just said 7 different things. You have 20 seconds. What 3 things are you going to say? You have, not only do you only have 20 seconds, there's 15 people behind you waiting for you to get out of the way so that they can also introduce themselves. What do you focus on? So tell me a little bit about you. What are the 2 things you say? Someone had a hand up and took it down immediately. Yes? Any thoughts? Yes?
Who are you? What can you do? How many seasons?
Potentially, right? Who you are, your name, what you do, and what you want next. What else?
I guess like your work experience and your values and how it relates to the job.
How it relates to the opportunity that's right in front of you, or the person who may work at the dream company. Yes.
Who you are, what you do now, and what you can be.
And what you can be. All of this requires a little preparation. The key is in 20 seconds, you're not going to have the time to decide, construct, and deliver. So what I want to teach you to do is to have all of these things in mind, but by the end of this workshop, you're going to have a 3-point introduction for when you really have to do it quickly, and you're going to have a 5-point for when you have a little bit more time and maybe want to engage the person in a bit of back and forth. But to be really annoying, choose a partner. We're going to do a quick exercise. I want you to answer the question, who are you? Pretend you have no idea. You have no idea if I'm hiring or not. I am hiring. You don't know what position. Partner with someone and introduce yourself as if the person you're introducing yourself might have a job for you. You can turn to your left, you can turn to your right. Ideally, someone who doesn't know you. I know, strangers are scary. All right. I love this. You're all so interesting. You don't want to stop introducing yourselves. Good. All right, let's end our introductions. You'll partner again with this person, so you haven't lost a friend in case someone didn't introduce yourselves. You can exchange information. Show me 2 hands. Who just partnered? Raise your hands with your partner. Okay. Who introduced themselves to you? Okay. What do you remember most? One thing you remember. Okay. Is that accurate? Is he right? Okay. Who did you introduce yourself to? You 2 were working together?
My name is Thomas. I introduced myself to Bridget.
What do you remember?
So Bridget has a background in novel writing. She's here in part supporting her sister, who is a screenwriter. Bridget is currently at University of Richmond. Her sister is graduating from University of Delaware. Bridget, even though her interests are in novel writing, she can see herself working in screenwriting, and her sister has an interest as well. So, yeah.
Who did you introduce yourself to? Oh, sorry, in the back. Yes. Yes.
My name is Jacques. I was partnered with Jonathan.
Did you know each other before? Okay. What do you remember?
That Jonathan is currently an entertainment reporter, and he has done films for such as Ballerina. He interviews actors and directors on their films, and he recently graduated from NYU.
Okay. What do you remember?
He recently went to Brooklyn College, and he produces a lot of films. He was originally an actor before transitioning into more producing on films.
Okay. There's one element that's missing that I want you to think about while we move to this next portion, right? We remember facts, we remember where people went to school, remember what they do. What we don't always remember is the value that they bring. So I want you to think about all the things you do, all of the programs, the certificates, the things you've written and made. Start thinking about what that means in terms of the value. Because if someone in this situation is just trying to get to know you, and you're in a scenario where you have some time and you're just focused on one person, you can convey a lot and they'll remember quite a bit, right? But try to think of yourselves as introducing yourself, but in the service of the other person. In your mind, you're trying to answer the question, how can I help this person? And if you think about how you can help them, you look at your background a little bit differently. So for example, Camila read a whole paragraph about what I do. I am an executive vice president of insights at a PR firm, and I am a professor at Columbia and 2 other universities. That's what I do. The value that I bring is, essentially, I spend my day helping communication professionals develop strategy and use data to do their jobs better. That sums up all the things that I've done. That's a value statement that reflects how I do what I do and why I do what I do and how it might be helpful to the other person. So start thinking about that, right? You've got the biographical sketch down pat. Pat yourselves on the back. Good job. You can all do that. Now start thinking about how you can condense it even further in a way that conveys to the person why they want to connect with you. Oh, I understand what that fancy title means. In that sentence, you have a picture of what I do throughout the day. I'm helping people, and I'm teaching people stuff. Oh, that's what I want to be known as, above all. Okay. As you start to think about that, the importance of pitching well, right? First impressions are formed within seconds. They're looking at your face, they're looking at your body language, right? Not to size you up, but it's part of the information, right? Most information that we process is visual. So again, we're not necessarily focused on the nonverbal communication, but remember that that's part of it, right? Were you over in the corner cursing somebody out 5 minutes before? Because that's part of it. Are you spilling tomato sauce on your right hand while you're trying to shake hands with your left? All of that is visual information. So really, the pitch is part of it. Most of the first impression, most of the pitch, right? The lens through which the pitch is absorbed is nonverbal. So think about your approach. Think about your handshake. Are you going to dap them up? Are you going to smile? Are you just going to ask them? I typically ask people, are you a hugger? Most people don't want to hug. I don't hug in professional situations. But I'm a hugger. I usually ask before I lean in. Or you kind of do the handshake that puts it out there and just sets the tone, right? The key is to appear confident and considerate as you approach someone. Most people don't like to be touched. I recommend going with the handshake. And take the person's lead. But also, right, beyond that, you don't want to do, whoops, where'd it go? There it is, sorry. You don't want to do anything that distracts or that essentially undermines your pitch. So again, thinking about what typically goes wrong, we go on too long, Raise your hand if you're guilty of sometimes going on too long when you introduce yourselves. Right? We don't know where to stop. The initial instinct is, I want to tell this person how awesome I am. And we start going through the resume, we go through the biological sketch, we try to give as much as we can because we're not quite sure what's most relevant. What do you think the effect is on the listener? Wah, 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 after a while, right? So you want to be punchy with the most important things and then take their lead, right? If the person seems interested, give them more. Have it all ready. I can keep going, but I've gotten the main points across to you. Focusing on what you want versus what you offer. This is why the value statement is important. I do a lot of panels, not just here. I go to a lot of events. And what I probably remember the most is someone who jumps in your face with what they want. I'm looking for, I need someone, can you look at my resume? And they immediately jump to the ask. And they haven't piqued my interest. Doesn't mean I won't do it, but I don't know anything about you. I would rather know a little bit about you to have a better understanding of how I can help. Maybe I'm not the right person to help you. I can introduce you to someone who knows your field or who's probably more useful to you if you know a little bit about the person. So don't always jump to what you need, what you want. Are you hiring? Right, those questions. And the temptation is often there when we don't have a lot of time. Third thing that comes across is memorizing a script. If you're introducing yourself to someone, and I'm introducing myself, and I have to read a piece of paper. My name is Alex Merceron, and I am a executive vice president at Rubenstein Communications. What does that convey to you? Someone sounds scripted, robotic. What does it say? It's not genuine. What else? Not confident. Not connecting. Not prepared. What else? Unnatural. They might not be listening, right? Because they're so focused on what they're saying to me. It doesn't feel like a conversation anymore. And this, both non-verbally and verbally, comes across immediately. So you will prepare, but not in a way that's scripted. What you want to remember is extemporaneous speaking. You have a couple of notes. You might have 3 words on your palm, or 3 sentences that you read on the train on your way over here. And just go through it naturally so that you don't need notes, because you want to connect. You want to pick up on the nonverbals that the other person is giving you. Right? Sometimes people are not receptive to an introduction, and you want to be focused so that you know, yeah, this person's really hungry and trying to get to their next thing. I'm going to ask if we can connect on LinkedIn and send that person an email instead. Right? You want to have the mental space to be able to fully participate in the conversation verbally, non-verbally, and pick up on the signs that the person is giving you and show them that you are genuinely interested in them, not just promoting yourself and introducing yourself. So it takes practice, right? You just did it cold, low-stakes environment. I'm going to make you do it again, but in a different way. Focusing on your unique value proposition. Have you been thinking about it? Probably not, because I keep talking. Right? But what's the value? And I want you to take a second and think, what's the value that you bring to a prospective employer? Right? Your passion for something, your interest in something. I'm a student, but what I really love doing is learning new technologies. Right? I love helping companies figure out how to navigate the changing media environment. Okay, that sounds good. Even if I don't know what you're studying, I need that. I need someone who cares about that. So think about it, and remembering that you want to deliver this in a way that still allows you to keep that authentic connection. Sound good? Okay, here's what we're going to do. First, breaking the ice. Does anyone have a good icebreaker? You're at an event like this. How do you open a conversation typically? And take a look at these. Is there something that you feel you do more often than not? Right? The first, event-specific opener. This is easy, low-hanging fruit. Practice all of these. Have a couple of these ready, again, on your way to an event. What brought you to this conference? Have you been to one of these before? People always ask me that. Every conference I go to. Good for them. That's an easy one. Always in your back pocket. If you're meeting with a panelist, do you do a lot of panels like this? Right? Shows a little bit of interest, opens a conversation, warms them up. Again, you'll get to see in that moment, are they irritated, are they cranky, are they hungry, right? You start to have an authentic conversation. Current events and trends, I encourage you all to do this, right? We're all related to the media industry in some way, right? Have an opinion, be aware of the trends that are happening. That creates a great icebreaker if there's something that you're comfortable talking about. I've been hearing a lot about something, AI, changes in how brands use influencers, something that might be interesting to you where the other person may have some thoughts or opinions, and use that to break the ice, right? Again, establish an authentic connection before, hi, I'm Alex, I'm looking for a job. What do you do? What's your take on it? You don't have to have the answers. Part of the authentic connection is acknowledging that you might know something I don't. I'd love to hear your take on it. How does your company grappling with that? What are your thoughts on this? Right? Are you seeing that in your role? Right? I hear from my HR folks that it's a really difficult summer for people to find jobs and internships. Is that your experience? I've established an authentic connection. I know something about your space, and I've shown a genuine interest in you. And hopefully you answer that. Everybody's spoken a little bit, right? We've got the cobwebs out of our throat. We're ready for a conversation. Right? So any approach can make the introduction a little bit easier to transition into versus lodging right into it. The casual but professional, I do this a lot. How's your week been? What are you working on? Are you gonna have the beef or the chicken? Right? Talking to people online at lunch, that's my thing. You never know who is in front of you or behind you online at lunch. Everyone do that. I know you want your sandwich, but you never know, right? So you can launch into an introduction through something that's completely unrelated to the outcome of the conversation, right? Just go where the conversation takes you. Raise your hand if you are comfortable with the event-specific openers. Everyone can do that, right? You're all gonna practice that if you haven't done it already. What about current events and trends? What's something you might lean into to use this? I've been hearing a lot about, you're all gonna figure it out by lunchtime. Yes. Glasses in the back and then glasses in the front. There's someone right behind you, you both have glasses.
I just heard that ChatGPT is down globally. What's your take? Yeah, right now.
Look, you piqued his interest. Might be a little specific. What was missing from that? What's your take on it? His take is it or isn't it? Right? You want to choose a question is good or an observation is good, but the key is to invite the person into the conversation. In front of you with glasses, you had an answer?
Mine was very similar. It was, how do you feel about the writing industry and the use of AI?
That is a good one. Everyone is thinking about AI, right? Some of you may be tired of talking about AI because everyone's thinking about it, but it's something that every company is grappling with. Right? How is your company dealing with that? My school didn't have a philosophy on whether we should use it or not, and it seems like every organization has a different approach. How are you handling that with the people you supervise? You can ask a panelist that if they're a team leader. What else? Yes. Say that again? If my answer is just no, what happens?
I'll start explaining that. I have, and what is Mission Impossible 7?
Yes.
I haven't seen it. Stop you right there. What's the problem with that conversation? If it's a yes, no question and my answer is no, you set yourself up to talk. I'm not talking. The whole point of an icebreaker is to get someone else to talk. Resist the urge to show people how smart you are and how many movies you've seen. because they might not care. This is I'm not picking on you, but this is a perfect example. If you see yourself in the service of the person you're speaking to, how does that serve me? What's a better way?
Can you explain why you said no?
Because I haven't seen it. I don't like Tom Cruise.
Why haven't you seen it?
I don't like Tom Cruise. I don't go to the movies.
Why do you like Tom Cruise?
Lots of reasons. Here's where I'm going with this. We want to stay focused, right? If you leave this event and you have 5 conversations about Mission Impossible and why we all hate Tom Cruise at the end of the day, did you have a good conference? Nope. Right? You had some good conversations. Maybe you made some friends, but you didn't get the most out of the moment. If you wanted to rephrase that question, maybe your goal ultimately is to show people that you really know a lot about AI. I would recommend some version of what you heard your colleagues talk about. I'm seeing a lot of movies that look like parts of them are created by AI. What do you think about that? And the whole replacement of actual production people with AI. You want my opinion. People like to talk. People want to share their ideas. They want to connect. So if I just tell you, I don't like Tom Cruise, I haven't seen that movie, and we spend the next 7 minutes of you telling me I'm really missing out because Tom Cruise is fantastic and I need to go back and watch all, that doesn't serve me. I'm here because I want to connect with early career people, career changers, right? It's a professional conference. So again, try to think about why the person might be here and help them out. It's not creating an opportunity for you to shine and show people how smart you are. What you want is to connect with that person, have them interested, to the point where they say, well, tell me about you. That's when you know you're winning. Not when you convince them to watch Mission Impossible. That's not winning. That's interesting. Winning is to get the person to be interested in asking you questions. Make sense? Okay. Other things that are might require a little bit more preparation. Industry-focused questions where you might know a little bit about what the person does. The first one is really good after a panel. The person's talked a little bit about what they do. Ask them what excites them. You have a sense of what they do and where they work, right? What are the most interesting projects you're working on? That requires a little time. I probably wouldn't ask that if there are 20 people behind me. But if you're at a networking event and you're having a more social conversation and you probably have 3 to 5 minutes, let the person discuss something that lights them up. What excites you? What's really interesting? Are you doing something new at work? You're going to learn from that because you might get some intel, some insider knowledge about the company that allows you to say, oh, you know what? I did something similar on my internship last summer. How big is that department? Do you ever hire early career people? Right? So again, create that opening that gives you an opening to interject. The learning-oriented question. Personally, I love these. When you are interested in something and have the clarity to know that I might be able to help you learn more about it. I get questions like this on LinkedIn all the time, and I answer them. Oh, I see that you work in insights. I'm really interested in learning what that means in PR and marketing. Do you have some time to talk? I always take those connections, and I always have those conversations. I don't even remember who some of those people are after because I do it that often, and they don't follow up. We'll come back to that, right? But if people love talking about what they do, right? People want to connect with people in ways that feel authentic to them. And an authentic way to connect is ask me about something I know a lot about, because I can help you. And then immediately I know you're conscientious, I know you know this is important, and you're willing to put in the effort to learn something new. Those are all good things. Those are good things to convey, right? It's a good reputation to establish. The experience-based starters. This works well with really experienced people. And some of this you hear in panels, right? This is why we pull people on stage. You want to get their take on trends. And in some cases, whether they follow up or not, it's a great opportunity to, again, convey that you're interested in learning, you acknowledge their experience, right? You have the wisdom to recognize that things are changing. And someone who's been in the business for a long time probably has an opinion on it. And it also lights people up to answer these kinds of questions. So asking people what changes they've noticed, what trends should I be aware of? Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, one thing that I always try to lead with is it's a question about how they got started in media, because of my biggest thing right now coming up, I'm assuming that all of us are also doing is how to start.
To break in. Yep.
So I always try to ask panelists how
Yes.
because a lot of people came from different industries,
Yep.
so there's a lot of different opportunities.
That's excellent, right? That's the same kind of thing, right? It's an experience-based thing. How did you get started? How are you seeing people get started at your company? Maybe they talked about their personal journey in the panel. But the folks on your team, another thing I like to ask people, why do you hire the people you hire? What jumps out at you in a job interview? So that you know what it is and you can play it up. And if you're prepared, right, if my answer is, well, what I really look for is someone who's willing to learn. Because so much is changing in the media industry. You might know a piece of software today, but there's going to be 10 things tomorrow. So I look for people who are excited about technology and learning new things. If you're prepared, what can you then do? Oh, I love learning new technology too. I just taught myself how to use XYZ, and I'm really interested in learning XYZ next. Or maybe you haven't taught yourself anything. I would follow up with a question and say, what would be some of the most important tools someone on the job market today should know? And then they'll say one or two things, and then you can follow up. Would you mind if we chatted when you have time for 15 minutes? Because I'd really love to hear more about that. Right? Opening up the conversation and being prepared to go wherever it takes you. Okay. 3-point framework. Everybody take a screenshot. I also have handouts, by the way. Samantha, can you start passing those around? This is what you paid for. Okay, who you are, you got that. But keep it short and sweet. You're going to try to get this into one sentence. Your current position or desired field. I'm an EVP of Insights. If you don't have a job yet, I'm a digital marketer. That's what you are, even if you don't have a job. The thing you studied in school, the thing you want to do, that's who you are. Don't be afraid to say that. I'm a social media strategist. Okay. Maybe you've only had a couple of internships, but that's what your degree is in, right? Position yourself in the way that you want the person to see you. And then the value, the what you do. It's not every single task in your job description. It's not every class that you took. Right? It's the value that you either currently provide to an employer or that you want to provide to an employer. The problem you solve, the outcomes. I help people navigate the changing media landscape. It's not my job title. That's the value I bring with my job title. Lots of ways you can splice that, right? I like to help companies use data to make their campaigns better. It's another example of value. Not my job description. If I'm an educator, yeah, I teach for 3 universities and I teach 4 classes a semester. That's what I do, but it's not the value that I add. I help people who are looking to enter the media field or change their careers make the transition. That's the value that I bring as an educator. Make sense? Yes?
Sorry, I'm a film producer. That could mean that's a million things
Yes.
in this industry.
What kind of stories do you like to tell?
Right.
If that's what you want to focus on, right? Maybe you want to transition to something else and you want to focus on sort of the strategic aspect of producing. I'm a film producer. I've been making movies for the last 10 years. Okay? It's your title and how long you've done it. But what I really do is bring together creative people to tell stories in new and exciting ways. That's the value you bring as a producer. Did I make that up, or is that what you do? There you go. Problem solved. And then the what's next. This is where we forget. Between the what you do and what's next, what do you think happens? Someone take a guess. I'll give you a hint. It's the danger zone. This is where you start rambling. Ramble-lamble-land. That's what it is. So make sure that after you've told them who you are and what value you bring, you want to shift to something that helps you connect. Tell me what you do again. Someone tell me who they are. I won't pick on anyone. Someone give me a who you are. Yes. You told me you told me where you do it, you told me who you are. Tell me who you are, your current position or desired field. Relatable and clear. Tell me who you are. Oh.
Recent Columbia grad who uses computer science and coding to help companies strategize on campaigns. And I'm really interested in breaking into media to personal companies in this area.
Okay, what was the clear, concise who he is? What did you hear? Recent Columbia grad. Because you said you help, right? The word help, right? That jumped out. My immediate question is, what did you graduate in, right? Frame it a little bit more. What did you study? Okay. So you can say, I'm a recent grad in political science and blah, 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 or I'm a communication or a political communication strategist, right? Whatever title you want to create for yourself, something that frames it. Don't leave it to the other person to put it together. Because if you give them too many pieces, they're putting the pieces together to determine who you are while you are still talking. Right? Do that for them. Frame it for them. What you do, right, with the value you add, you help people. Say it again.
I help people strategize with campaigns on how to be more effective.
Yeah. Right? That's the value he brings. My next question will probably be, oh, what kind of campaigns? Who have you worked for? Right? It actually creates more curiosity. Right? Now I want to know how you do it. Who are you doing this for? Where are you doing this? Right? So you use it as a tease. And then the what's next. I came to this conference because I always learn from the early career staff at my firm, so I'm really interested in understanding the struggles that early career folks have on the job market. And I'm here because I want to learn the latest trends in influencer marketing, because, things change so quickly. Transition, and it should connect with something that the other person can either launch into, how they can help you, something that they can talk about. It could be a point of connection in the sense that you're both here for the same thing, right? You're not looking for jobs for each other, but everyone here is looking to make a career move. You might not be looking to make the same kind of move. Some people are looking for their first job, some people are looking to get out of a job that they have, and maybe you can help each other, right? And the way that you answer is going to frame how the other person answers. So you're gonna get their what next back. So, because you all already hate me, you're gonna do this again. Take a little bit of time and think about the introduction you gave the same person earlier, but in that 3-point framework. And then take a couple minutes to put it together. You'll try not to use notes, but if you do, I'm not mad. Right? Try to get it to 3 points, 3 sentences, if you will. Sound good? Okay, go. You can take your time if you want to work out your points first, but we've got about 10 minutes left. Okay, I'm going to stop you because I heard some good introductions. I'm going to ask people who haven't said anything yet. Who thinks they did a really good job of the three-point framework? Raise your hand. You all, the rest of you don't think you did a good job? Who thinks they could do a good job if they didn't have me interrupting them? I will say congratulations to all of you because you came to this workshop first, because other people are outside rambling, doing these really long. So before you start the rest of your day, right? Take a second, come up with your three-point pitch, and use it all day long. In the interest of time, who wants to do theirs?
I'll do one.
Go ahead.
All right, so what ended?
We can't hear you. A little bit louder. Oh, you know what? Walk over to the mic if you don't mind. Who else would like to do theirs? Anyone else? Come on down. And you in the back. 4.
So my name is.
That might be all we have time for. 3 sentences only.
Okay.
Who you are.
Okay. My name is Gurpreet Singh. What I do is I file tax returns, and what I'm looking for is a tax internship.
Okay. What did he miss? Thank you. You can have a seat. Next person. What did he miss? The value. I heard your job title and what you want. I didn't hear the middle. That's okay. You can sit down. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacques. I'm a Brooklyn College graduate in film production. I am a film producer and writer. I am interested in story development, and my main goal is to help stories become movies.
Okay. I heard what you are. I heard the value you bring. What did he miss? What's your Mr. What's next? See? It happens, right? We want to get a lot of things across. It isn't wrong, but it just shows you want to take a minute and really make sure that you hit those 3 points and rehearse it through so it sounds natural. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I'm Sahana. I just graduated with an MFA in sequential art, and I'm currently the managing editor at Glass Quarterly magazine. At Glass, I primarily work within the production of the magazine and internal communications. What I want to do is incorporate more of my illustration practices within book production spaces.
Okay. I heard 2 sentences that, one, what you do, and then you elaborated on what you do.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the value, right? How do you do that in a way that will be advantageous to someone else?
Okay.
So work on the value part. And last but not least.
Thanks, sorry. Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm a writer for animated television. I write stories that are entertaining and educational for children without talking down to them. I'm looking for a way to break into this industry, to have my stories be heard by a larger group of people.
I heard everything. Thank you. One thing you could potentially add, right? You can make it more specific, right? Make it concrete. You're looking to break into the industry. Could she make that a little bit more concrete? You're looking to break in, but specifically where? Right? Animation studios. Maybe you want to transition to something else. You could be a little bit more specific and concrete. Good. Yes. Questions or comments? You want to do yours? Yes. We'll take one more.
Hi everyone, I'm Raven Lin. I'm currently a merchandising manager, and I'm the person who puts together the visual aspect of merchandise on social media and in the stores. I'm looking to connect with the influencer market and public relations.
I heard everything. Thank you. Okay, you all just proved that this can be done in 10 minutes. Everyone will go and come up with their 3 points, remembering the value. You all know what's next, but figuring out a way to make it concrete. If you have time, you can even make multiple versions of this. Take a picture of this as well. We're out of time, but this is another way when you have a bit more time. This extends the framework a little bit. So we talked about icebreakers, right? Something to hook the person into the conversation, putting it all together. Some icebreaker that opens the door or makes it memorable. Quite frankly, I use this when it's a small group. Full disclosure, I love big group conversations like this. You could put 1,000 people, 10,000 people, it all feels the same. I love one-on-one. What I hate is when 5 people are talking and I have to cut in. And that happens a lot at conferences. And so this is good when you need to cut in. Listen to someone talking and have a comment or reaction about something that someone said. Yeah, you know what? I hear people at my firm talking about that a lot. Yeah, my clients are grappling with that too. Right? Put yourself in the conversation by reacting to something. Or, you know, I heard that 50% of people say that they know AI, but they really don't. Do you see imposters at your firm? Right? Something that inserts you in the conversation. And then, right, you don't want to barge into a conversation and say, hi, I'm Alex. I know you're all talking, but I'm blah, 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 and I'm interested in blah, blah, blah. Right? Use a hook, the icebreakers, whether you're in a formal introduction situation or if you have to cut in. Make sense? Can you all promise me that you're all going to go and do your 3-point framework at least? Yes. And choose some icebreakers? Yes. Woohoo! You made my day. Thank you very much.
Let's just give Alex another big round of applause. Like she mentioned, you guys are very lucky because right after this, you get to do networking. So you get to practice everything she just taught you. And I'm going to be hearing and like looking around to see if you actually did exactly. And then also remember, there's QR codes at every one of the networking tables. That way you can stay connected with them. So Alex, you guys did a great job at coming here. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate it. Another big round of applause because she just taught us so much. So we're going to wrap up now. Your next networking session is going to be in the art gallery. It's going to start at 11:40. So if you want to use the restroom or take a quick break, you can. We're so grateful for all the representatives who are here to do the networking and meet all of you. You'll find descriptions again of our networking partners in the app. And then don't forget again the QR code to register there. To make sure that you can stay connected afterwards. Please remember to be mindful that just like many of you are here, there's going to be a lot of folks, even more so out there networking. So, you know, go from different tables, network, allow others to come into the conversation, be also inclusive and help somebody else that maybe did not take this workshop session to help them introduce and get connected as well. This is what the media industry is for. That's it. We're gonna, and then after that, at 12:40 is when the networking session ends. So you have an hour for networking, and we'll have lunch in the cafe area. So you all stay there for our lunch. Thank you all, and happy networking.